Hi, I'm Maggie Parker with Paste Magazine. We are here in the Paste Studios in New York City with Adrienne C. Moore of Orange is the New Black and her two adorable puppies. So it's Lola and Mowgli. So Orange is the New Black, the season 5 just dropped on Friday.
Yes.
What kind of reactions have you been getting?
Exactly that.
Like, are people like shocked?
People, I was so funny. I was just talking to some people at my agency, and they were like, "Every time you and Tasty come on the scene, I cry."
Yeah, I
and
agree.
I'm like, and I'm literally in my hand. I'm like, what would I do that made people cry? I felt that was funny this season.
You are, but a lot of your facial expressions are like just sad, and also with Tasty. And I see you looking at Tasty, and you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's how hard was it filming without Poosy and also without Samira? Like this whole season.
I mean, it was definitely hard to. I think it was more of the fact knowing that her character is not, alive on the show, and that we wouldn't be seeing Samira through the season.
Right.
That was more hurtful or painful or whatnot, more than it was like Poosey's dead. I mean, obviously, it's the character.
Right.
We know that the character's dead, but for us as a cast and those that are friends of Samira, it's more that, we're going to miss her. But as you see, she makes a little...
cameo. Yeah.
So, and I was actually on set that day when she came to do it. And so we had our little mini reunion.
So, how long was it till you got to figure out how the season picked up? I mean, do we end up waiting the same amount of time pretty much? Because I know how it's...
Picked up like they're going to do another season?
How it picked, like how this season premiere, where it, like exactly what happened with that.
So if you're asking, like, do I know what's going to happen with season 6? Like,
how long did you have to...
I don't know. Well... Do I know?
Oh my god!
I mean, I've heard a couple of things in the ether, but you never know like what's actually gonna happen. But so I don't know. I didn't know that season 5 was gonna pick up where it did until I think we were maybe like a month away from filming.
Were you shocked?
Not so much shocked, because I know if you look at every season, we sort of kind of pick up right where we left off in some little moment or in some way.
Right.
So I had a feeling
that
we're going to kind of pick up from, from that moment, that little melee that was about to ensue. But I have no idea what we're picking up. Yeah. Ish idea. No-ish idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a bit of a tease. But we can stay focused on this season, I guess, if we have to. Also going back to what's really great is what we're saying is that you kind of go along, you learn about your characters as you guys go along. Mm-hmm. And not only that, it's that these characters are so unpredictable. I mean, like, they're just maybe because of their surroundings, they're just so unpredictable. How has Cindy surprised you most? Either like her past decisions or something she's done in prison?
How has she surprised me most? I would say her desire to do better. I sort of feel as though when you're in an incarcerated situation, obviously you have this time to think about the courses and decisions that you made to land you there. But I feel like she's sort of taking this opportunity and is like, well, I'm here for however long she's supposed to be in prison. I might as well make the most of it, So it's sort of like, Cindy, you need to get it together a little bit, And I sort of think the conversion might be part of that, that catalyst. Yeah. But I mean, I think, just sort of her, is she changing? Right. Is she learning from her past and rearranging some of her choices? Yeah.
I mean, she's kind of like exactly how you're describing. She's kind of like in the moment, like even with the whole, when they're writing their kind of demands, her demand was
hot Cheetos and Takis. Hot Cheetos and Takis.
I mean, it's definitely important.
It is. It's so funny that hot Cheetos were my favorite thing growing up as a kid. So when they wrote that in the script, I was like, were they just like spying on me? Did they know that about my past? And so after the show ended, the production, the props, like gave me a box of Cheetos.
Yeah.
And they are currently being slowly eaten in my cabinet.
That sounds amazing. It's funny that you say that because I noticed also that, I mean, it seems like these characters are written for you guys, but of course we know they aren't. However, you minored in religion, correct?
Yeah.
So then they have you convert or have Cindy convert. And it's like, that must have been so interesting for you because this is something you're really, I mean, you're familiar with religion and all that. And it's almost like, wait, what? Did they know?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like, I was like, are y'all like following my Facebook feed?
Yeah.
Do y'all have an in with FBI or like Google or something?
Oh my
like,
God.
You know, but it just further goes to show how much I believe life imitates art and vice versa, because every season there's something about Cindy's journey that is unique to Adrienne.
Right.
You know, my experience as a person. And to your point, religion was one of them. You know, I grew up, as Cindy even talks about, sorry baby, as Cindy even talks about, in a, you know, not a staunch religious home, but I grew up in a home where Christianity and spirituality and sort of church, you know, in the South, I mean, there's pretty much like every day of the week you have something going on at church. If it's not choir rehearsal or some youth program, I took Taekwondo at church, Bible study, you know, it was like literally almost every day of the week. Yeah. I had something going on at church. So I connected with that immediately with her. And then obviously as Adrienne grew up, I went through my transformation about what is the difference between religion and spirituality? And what are we really mandated to do as people? Yeah. Religion aside, whatever your belief is aside, what is the mandate? And in religion, when I was in school, I found a similarity between, you know, I studied Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, and I felt that the main thing, the common thread through all of that was about humanity and compassion. Regardless of who you appoint as God, who you don't appoint as God, who you choose to follow, I felt that every one of those faiths were teaching about compassion, having compassion for your fellow man, the same compassion that you would have for yourself. And so I feel like in Cindy's speech, she sort of got that, you know, when she says, you're supposed to just do God. You know, you're just supposed to have compassion. You're supposed to have love, and you're supposed to just give. And so it's interesting, those parallels that have happened in my personal life and then in hers as well. Did you feel like, oh, I got this, because it was like she was converting, she was learning a new religion? Like, it must have been so interesting for you to kind of... I mean, in a way, I connected, like I said, with those past experiences. And then with the whole Jewish conversion. Yeah. Shout out to Gingy for that idea. Yeah. It was interesting as a New Yorker, you know, sort of peddling the streets to make money as a broke actress. I was a babysitter, and a lot of my clients were Jewish. Yeah. So, you know, just raising kids in a Jewish family. And I mean, I had the spectrum. I worked with families that were Orthodox Jews to, you know, to the most mildly, they were just Jewish by culture, but they necessarily didn't practice the religion and, you know, go to the synagogue and so forth like that. Yeah. So I had the spectrum, and it was interesting to witness that. And then ironically, while we were filming her journey, her conversion journey, one of my old clients that I used to babysit for circled back to me because her daughter was having her bat mitzvah. So I went as like research, and it was amazing. Wow. Yeah. That's really cool. It was like, you're just making this season so easy for me, God. Seriously. Is it God? Right. Wow, that is really, it just kind of like fell into place like that. It's really amazing. And so obviously there are some parallels, but like you're saying, I mean, there's so many things that are different. Yeah. What do you pull from in your own life to get to those spots of Cindy's life that you just haven't experienced? It depends. I mean, obviously if there's anything in my past history that I've experienced, obviously that's something that I go to. Yeah. If it's nothing that I haven't experienced yet, then I try to connect with the character's emotional connection to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I think as an actor, Stella Adler, I think, said this. Yes, she did say this. As actors, we have to be the most empathetic. Mm-hmm. You know, we may not necessarily experience it and know, you know, that experience to be a murderer or a thief or, you know, a prisoner. You know, like I've never had that experience. I've gotten in trouble, but it hasn't landed me in prison.
Oh, thank God.
And I'm not even going to say the YET word.
Yeah.
But it hasn't landed me in prison. But how can I empathize and understand? And I think at the end of the day, and I've had the chance to visit some prisons since I've been on the show, and really the world that is inside of a prison is not so different from the world outside. It's like a microcosm. You still have the rules that you have to govern yourself by. You have your community of people. You know, there are a lot of similarities to what the outside world is. And at the end of the day, as I said, we're all human.
Yeah.
You know, and so that baseline, we have that connection.
Yeah. Well, that was something else I was going to ask, because from day one of the show, that was something I really wanted to know, is if what was your knowledge of the prison system before going into the show?
Scared straight.
Yeah.
No, I
mean, what is anyone's?
But it's so when I was in high school, wait, was I in high school? College, I interned. I was living in Atlanta. Well, my hometown is Atlanta. And so during the summertime, I'd come back and I interned for city government.
Okay.
And, this was high school, the U.S. Attorney's Office. Thank you. I was interning for the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Okay. And
we had the chance to do site visits, and they took us to FBI headquarters and the SWAT team, and they took us to one of the prisons. Okay. And so we got a chance, or the jails, I should say, and we got a chance to visit. And then, ironically, my neighbor is chief of staff over DeKalb County Jail. Okay. And she just voluntarily offered a chance for me to visit the prison, and so I got a chance.
This was
like season 4, 3 or 4, I think. Cool. So that, and then honestly, I love reality TV. I admit it. And so I was obsessed with, even long before Orange was known to me. Yeah, I would watch things like Scared Straight, and things on like. What's that? ID. Yeah. You know, like those kind of things about, juveniles that like spend like a weekend in prison. And like those kind of things, I'm obsessed with. Like right now, I'm obsessed with like crime, like reality crime shows. I watch 60 Days In. Oh my God. Which is another show on A&E. So I find those kind of things enthralling, I think, because, and what makes Orange so interesting to people is you're peering inside of a world that you never would think to peer inside of, and that you probably never would get the experience to do that. Yeah. And so those things have always sort of fascinated me. Yeah. Like, what is that world about? Right. Yeah.
I feel like, and that's the scary thing, is that I do feel like, and I mean, you'd probably know better than me, but it is pretty accurate in how messed up the prison system is. Yeah. I mean, the show. I mean, I one episode sticks out with me with Tasty in the way when she got out and came back.
Like, what do you do?
It does.
How do you? Yeah.
Does it? What did like that knowledge do for you? I mean, did it just hit you and you were like, oh my God, is this really how this works? Like, it's pretty crazy.
You know, the thing that's coming to my mind right now was, when I was in, and again, like I said, I've never been in prison, so I can't understand what that journey experience is like, especially now with the story I'm about to tell you. But one year, I studied abroad in Spain. Okay. And I was there for about 4 months, and I got very immersed in the culture. Okay. You know, I learned to speak the language pretty fluidly. I got very accustomed to the way of life. So much so, when I came back to America, literally the first week, I would stare at people who were speaking to me in my language. And I was looking at them like,
what's going on?
You know, like I for some reason, my brain had just been so wrapped up in the Spanish culture and the language that for some reason, like, English was foreign to me. So I sort of maybe can see how being immersed in a certain world for so long and then, you know, sort of coming back into and, you know, getting immersed in everyday life can sort of feel like that. this is familiar to me, but it's not familiar to me.
Right.
You know?
Have people, I know like in the beginning there were some people who came out and spoke about like former prisoners and saying that this is accurate, this isn't. Has anyone ever spoken to you about it and said? Oh,
all the time. Literally last week I was walking my puppies in the park, and this woman came up to me, and it was around Memorial Day weekend, and she said, I love your show. I was an Israeli political prisoner for years. Like she said, like 3 times. And what I love about your show is how accurate it is.
Wow.
And this is a woman that was in prison in Israel. Like Israel.
For a completely different
And
time.
So to hear that from her was, you know, it was very it was a very satisfying and humbling experience for sure.
I can't imagine. It sounds like it. And you have to be pretty vulnerable on the show, although you are one of the funniest characters on the show. But just not only just emotionally, but also like, you know, you're wearing not a lot of makeup, and I think it was last season where you were in your underwear. So how is that for you? And you weren't the only one, but like, how is that for you at the beginning, kind of stripping down emotionally and physically?
Very freeing.
Really?
Very freeing.
That's awesome.
It's like, and then you couple that with the cast that we have, who are so supportive of each other, that, you know, it's sort of like, you know, when you do those company retreats, you know, like team building retreats, and you do like the trust fall. Yep. That's what it feels like.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's really
what
awesome.
It feels like. It's very freeing.
It feels like the cast is it's a very tight cast. So I guess it's not that surprising.
No.
You know, like you guys are.
Most of us have been together since season 1, and even before the show was the world's. Right. You know, it was ours. Right. And so we kind of have our little family and our bond.
But you are, Cindy is hilarious.
Thanks.
Her comebacks are just great. Are your comebacks as good as Cindy's, would you say?
Well, now, I have to say, they can be pretty good. I'm a girl from the South, so you know we are good at throwing some tea and shade.
I'm not surprised at all. Is there any improvisation? There is. Okay.
The great thing about our show and our writers is that some of them will allow us the freedom of exploring the text and the scenario and the situation, but we always, adhere to what they wrote. Make sure we get those takes in the can, and then the writer or the director will say, y'all can like play around a little bit and see what kind of comes. And they're very great. They're very gracious in allowing me to do that. So I welcome those opportunities as many times as I can.
I think one of my favorite comebacks of yours was Suck a Fart. Or something like that?
A sucker, was it, suck a spork or something 3 times a day.
It was like 3 times a day, yeah.
Suck a fart
something
3
like
times
that.
a day.
It was so funny.
I didn't understand that, but I just kept saying it, and I was like, and then when I finally saw it, I was like, oh, that is funny.
It's so funny. I don't know really what it means or anything.
Like, how do you suck a fart?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it sounds really gross.
Oh, that's how you suck a fart.
But it's really funny. Like, it's just, it works.
It's like, what are they? Well, I didn't want to say it on this show.
Okay. You can say it to me after.
Nope, not going to say it.
Can you remember any of those comebacks that you kind of came up with on the spot? Or any of them, some of your own creations?
Well, I know. I'm thinking of, in particular, when we did the Scared Straight scene. I think it was season 1, where all the kids came to our prison, and I was talking about Piper, how she's getting down with the girls, and I think one of my improvs, when she tried to come back at me with something, I was like, lesbianic.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, so like that one, and
oh my god, so
and any rap that she does or any song that she does, they let me make up the tune. So like Gingy wrote the tune to a little spray here, a little spray there, but I came up with the melody.
Oh my god!
For that,
that is so funny.
So, and then like when I did the days of the week, so yeah, I'm trying. I feel like, and then even in this season when Judy is doing my nails, my giving me my pedicure, like those are some improvisational moments.
Oh my god!
In that scene as well.
That is some
And then when I carry her by the chain,
right?
I don't know if it made it into, I was like, this is for all the black people.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like, these lines are so good.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed. I think that's really awesome. And so moving away from Orange, you also have this really awesome background in talent. I mean, in theater, you are a talent.
Thank you.
You are. You do have a talent, a few. So do you plan on doing more theater?
I always try and do theater when I'm when we're off season.
Yep.
So
right.
This is the only year, honestly, that I didn't get a chance to get into a show before we go back to filming. Last year, I did Shakespeare in the Park in New York, in Central Park. The year before that, I did Dot at the Actors Theater of Louisville. The year before that, where was I? Oh, I did a show here in New York at, what was it called? Ethel Sings.
Right.
Before that, I was in La Jolla.
Right.
So I always. Theater is always sort of, it's my place to sort of not go back to square one, but to remember the fundamentals of storytelling and why storytelling is important. And it's a great physical workout. It's a great mental workout. It's a great improvisational workout because every night, every show is different.
Right.
You have the same lines, you have the same staging, same characters, the beginning and the end. But what changes every night is that audience.
Yeah.
And they sort of complete the rest of the story.
Yeah. That's really cool. What is your dream role in a play or musical?
It's actually a play that hasn't been written yet. It's a story that I want to write about Tituba, who is, if you remember Arthur Miller's The Crucible. Yeah. She had a very small role.
She's like the maid
she was the one that sort of jump-started the whole witch trials, what's going on, and I remember I did the role when I was in grad school, and a lot of people just kind of take it, it's just 2 scenes, she's in and out, there's really nothing more. But I was so excited to work on this role and to do a dialect and school show. Right. A friend of mine recommended this book called I Tituba, Black Witch of Salem. And it sort of is like, Tituba's take on the Crucible, like what happened in Salem. But it goes back to when she was in Barbados first, through her time to Boston and back. Yeah, it's like Elphaba's from Wicked. Yeah, it's like her version of like who she really is. This is Tituba's version of who she really is. And, you really learn that her incantations and her potions that she makes it's not witchcraft, but it's actually healing medicine. She was taught to be a healer. Oh, wow. And so I want to tell her story. Yeah, so that's really a role. Cool. So I have this musical that I'm developing.
So it's a musical. I was going to ask, a play or musical.
Gotta throw a song in there.
I feel like she needs a song.
It's like Barbados, so you have this beautiful Caribbean music, and then you have it contrasted with this stark, puritanical Boston or Massachusetts music. So I think it's going to be really interesting.
Oh my God, that sounds. Are you working on that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I will be really excited when that comes to fruition.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
It's interesting developing a musical. It's a lot of work.
Are you doing the book and are you writing the songs, everything?
I am getting help with that one. I have a wonderful people that are helping me put that together. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so the last question I want to ask you is, where would you like to, I guess more, where do you honestly think Cindy will be in 10 years?
In 10 years, well, it depends on the crime that she committed.
Right.
Whether or not she's still in jail. But let's just give her the chance that, she has served her time and she is out. She definitely needs a spinoff.
I think so.
Right?
I think so.
She needs a spinoff.
I agree.
And I think it would be her trying to repair her relationship with her daughter.
Yeah.
And acknowledging that. Because even when I read it, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
wow, she doesn't acknowledge her daughter as her daughter, but her sister. And that was even hard for me because I'm such I love children. I was a babysitter for years. So trying to empathize with her in that way was a very different experience for me. So I would say I'd be interested to see how her relationship with her daughter develops after she gets out of prison.
Yeah, I would be interested to see that too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm Maggie Parker with Adrienne Seymour from Orange is the New Black and her adorable, really totally sleepy puppies. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.